their students to attend for the online sessions, they may not be focused on the education, and they may misuse the internet and get attracted to the social media. The main reason for the increase of the literacy rate and the enrollment increased due to the midday meals in the rural areas. And due to pandemic, all the government institutions got closed and MDM has stopped. And this seriously affected the poor students. Students can easily be distracted and misuse the internet, and they'll be get attracted to the social media. So we need to think about this also. As many said, the third wave is going to affect severely on children. Parents are not allowing the children to come out of their home. Because of this, children are becoming lazy, dull, worried, and feeling bored. And as students are already away from the schools and playgrounds, they are facing mental disorders and their physical exhilaration getting decreased. In these situations, parents should spend more time with the children, make them agile. It is better to play small games and do exercises within the home. So managing the primary kids is becoming very difficult through online, because we cannot manage them in the online sessions. Let us see some overcoming these challenges. So we can there are some pros and cons with the online sessions. We can use it from anywhere, anytime. Lessons can be taught more easily based on the internet. Teachers should be mingled with the students. For this, teachers should improve his technical abilities. We must see that participants, students should be active and engaged by giving some kind of activities, asking questions every now and then, and the interactive applications, videos will be useful to fill this gap. Already, a few states has already started printing the QR codes in the textbooks. We have to come up with a set of interactive applications or videos which will work with the QR codes in the textbooks. It should be maintained for all classes and all subjects. Now they are for a few classes only, higher section only. So it should be maintained for all classes. We must see that more technological activities should be given to improve the reading and writing also, because we are giving much priority for the listening and speaking in online sessions. This should be concerned. Using smart devices for long hours, children may get hurt, their eyes may get hurt. So session should be planned according to the limited time. We need to limit the time as per the student's age group. So along with the subject, we need to encourage the children to draw, to color, to sing, and various activities should be done. Even after reopening the schools, we should continue to use the online platforms to make teachers and students familiar with them. So we need to take this as a lesson. All of a sudden, we come across this situation, and we must take it as a lesson, and we should continue this using the online platform so that children and teachers will be familiar with them. Proper technical training should be conducted for the in-service teachers, because as we have mentioned here earlier, it is the biggest challenge. If the teacher is not knowing about the much tools and all, he cannot manage the online sessions. And in the teaching professional courses like the B.Ed and M.Ed, ICT is there is a paper, but it should be taken seriously, and it should be given much priority that every teacher trainee should learn all kinds of the digital tools and applications, and he must have some hands-on experience. We should make every teacher as a digital content creator. And finally, I'd like to say that interactive sessions, interactive videos, interactive applications, and the well-trained teachers will be make all the online sessions successful. Thank you for giving me this good opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad, for presenting the problems and putting forward the suggestions. Because as we know, the main theme of the conference itself is English language teaching during pandemic times, grappling with the new normal. And we know in order to while grappling with the new normal, we had to depend on technology.
Yes, sir.
Raised the question of making a balance between the two, right? Because
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The question of the content knowledge and the technological knowledge. I may be very good in my content.
Yes.
So how to teach, because I know that language, as a teacher of language, I must have that kind of competence. But if I am not technologically well qualified, no, then in spite of my command of the language and the technique of teaching will be affected. And that's why you have rightly pointed out the importance of self-learning on the part of the teachers. And nowadays we have enough opportunities, right from Swayam you mentioned, and other resources also. And the problem, the question of having interactive video, because often the online teaching becomes one-way traffic. And that creates
Yes.
the problem. Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any question or suggestions on this paper?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
I'm Rafiq Raj. This is to the presenter. Sir,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
said unlike offline teaching, we give importance in online teaching only for speaking and listening. Right, sir?
No. While giving the online sessions, we are giving much priority for the listening and speaking only. We are not concentrating on the reading and writing, because
Okay,
a
you
session
mean
is
to say
going
it's
on.
your recommendation that we should give importance to writing skills as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, since I've worked on writing skills,
yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to tell you that there are ample of writing skills supporting online applications, sir, wherein interactive sessions can be held by the teacher, where they can expect students to mention the answer in the written form.
Okay,
There are such applications available online free of cost.
okay,
One such as writing skills, that itself is an application.
yeah,
That's a platform where students can practice their writing skills.
okay.
Only thing is,
So
as per your recommendation, we have to give importance to that. I too agree with that.
yeah,
I
we
too
need to.
agree with you,
So
sir.
because simply we are conducting the lessons, so we are just like orally we are giving the instructions, and we just say that it's over. It is not like that. At least they have to read some text, they have to write something, and they have to show us all these things. And I admit that I don't know the app which you have told me. So such app is there to learn the writing and all.
Ample of such apps, sir.
Okay, okay, ma'am. I have not noticed.
Thank you,
So
sir.
it will be
Thank you.
good that if I could learn them. If you can post that in the public chat, I will got to know about them. I'll try to implement them in my school. Definitely, it will be helpful for me. Thank you so
Right,
much,
sir.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Any suggestions? Because I find that this discussion on giving equal importance to all the four skills.
Yes,
Because yesterday also we had a very nice discussion on this topic, and this paper, Mr. Prasad's paper, also draws attention to that aspect. That in India, what happens very often we keep ALS, RW in four watertight compartments. But as teachers of English, our objective is to teach language as a whole and in an integrated manner, and therefore keeping them in watertight compartments goes against the very principle of language teaching. And as it has been pointed out very nicely now, that there are software even for writing also, and we should take advantage of the software which are available for both for reading, writing, not only for listening, speaking, even for reading and writing. And this kind of platform where we can exchange our opinions, our the knowledge sharing that is taking place during this 2-day conference, the kind of dissemination that is taking place, I think will go a long way in strengthening the cause of ELT in this country. Thank you very much. I think now we can go for the next paper. Next paper is techniques of enhancing listening skill in online ESL classrooms by Ms. Pramila Harivatsa. Ms. Pramila, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
here.
Please start. Please just remember that you have 10 minutes because I
Okay,
personally
sir.
prefer a lot of discussion because if you finish in 10 minutes, then we will get enough time scope for discussion. And you know,
Okay,
as
sir.
Beckman said, the conference make it the person perfect. And the more we
Okay, sir.
confer, more we discuss on your paper, it will enlighten us. And that's why please keep 10
Okay,
minutes.
sir.
Then we will have a,
Okay,
I
sir.
hope we will have a very fruitful discussion on your paper. Okay, please start.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon to all. I am Premila Taravat, high school teacher, Government High Secondary School, Chittoor at Kerala in India. I have selected the topic Techniques to Enhance Listening Skills in Online ESL Classes under the sub-theme Teacher Innovations and Challenges. So, first of all, why listening is important? Why listening is important in the digital mode of learning? We all know that it is the first and foremost skill in the four basic skills of language learning: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The acquisition of language skill is related to listening skills. Though it is regarded as a passive skill, it is an active process because we spend nearly 50% of our time in listening mode when we are engaged in a communication. Studies show that our short-term memory is even shorter for a second language. So we need to focus on tasks related to listening skills because the other three skills are only the active expressions of this prime skill. So I want to say that listening is the key to online learning. And what are the challenges in listening English? First of all, speaker and the situation. That is, learners find many problems in listening English. First one is the speaker and the situation. Listening is quite subjective in its scope. The personality of the speaker, voice modulations, presentation skills, and individual differences affect a listener to a great extent. And the situation to play a significant role, as we all know. Poor listening takes place in a distracted environment. And next one is the listener's poor vocabulary. Learners often find difficulties in identifying common expressions in the language. Their poor vocabulary made the language strange to grasp. They face problems in relating and sequencing ideas or events. The situation, if unattended, will lead to multiple learning issues. And next one is lack of knowledge about the topic. We can see that when familiar topics or areas of interest are really make learning entertaining. Language not a barrier if we are transacting some interesting topics. For example, tasks related to sports and games, we can see that the learners are quite eager to share their ideas. They know the content, rules and manners in it so thoroughly well that they seem to respond actively. And assessment system focuses active skills. Learning efficiency is assessed focusing on active skills like writing. Listening issues will remain hidden, and most of the time, the child is grouped under slow learners if he is a slow listener. And the last one is lack of exposure in the target language. Listening opportunities are minimum in second language learning. Sometimes only in ESL classrooms it takes place. Unless and until the teachers are guided to listen more, the learners won't take efforts to listen. When teaching learning switched on to online mode, all of a sudden, slow learners face many challenges. They are not interested to listen in the new platform where everything seems to be strange for them. They depend there on teachers whose voice friendly and acceptable to them. They need much care and support to accommodate themselves to the new changes. So, to address the issues mentioned above, I have designed a project, Enjoy English for the learners. The tasks are divided into different stages to fulfill the needs and requirements of the individual learner. Stage one is screening. Pre-listening and post-listening tasks are arranged here, and prepared audio and video modules of selected passages of the English reader. These audiovisual materials are shared to them through WhatsApp class groups. They are given proper guidance to listen, ask many times, as required to grasp the content. Here, I just shared the technique of flipped learning. No humiliation or comparisons are done here. They can freely continue according to their level of competency, and motivated them to listen. At regular intervals, their listening is assessed through simple Google Form quizzes and online interactive sessions. At the initial stage, questions are designed to instill confidence among the learners. Since they are quite new to the digital platforms, they are much thrilled and shared screenshots when they were able to score the maximum. They were channeled thus to learning tracks quite automatically. Their scores and performance are recorded in teacher's diary. And next stage, there's listen and recall, and listen and record. At this second stage, they are assigned numerous tasks related to discourses in the text. Listen and report the live news or daily news. They are given audio of the sample conversations or thoughts of the speaker in a story and instructed to listen. They are asked to present audio or video or written or graphical versions and share through WhatsApp groups. Their performance are well assessed, written to them with proper feedbacks and areas of corrections if required. They have to send a modified version within the specified time. And next stage, the learners are categorized properly, depends upon their proficiency in this learning. They are assigned suitable tasks where they can utilize their creativity, and with the support of their family members, they can submit different audio and video presentations. After modification, these audio videos are compiled to a single project to upload in Enjoy English YouTube channel. I just want to share that video after discussing the findings of the project. We can see that learning became an entertainment. And learners take quite actively in the learning process. They started communicating in English, boosted up their level of confidence, and there started a healthy competition among learners for better performances. Even the slow learners became active in the classroom. Some of the activities they can easily do it, preparing a poster or repeating a slogan. They also come to the mainstream. Learning skills got harnessed on the right track, and since listening required silence, they maintain self-discipline. That is, they can assess their performance when there is background noises are there. They try to minimize the second video upload, and the family support also they can expect in this stage. And just I want to share a true story of transformation. A student named Abhiram of 10th standard last year. He was a passive learner and never took any initiative to present his results in English classroom. The listening task instilled hope in him, and there was a tremendous change in his classroom learning process. He turned active when he appeared on listeners, and he became a leader and took initiative in all of activities. Shall I share the video of children's response?
Yes, are you sharing the videos? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I could see nobody. I lost all of them. I will have to remain alone in the sea. I don't know. Ship in wreck.
My art, I shoot. I sit, I sing.
Is the possible and then go back.
Nothing to worry, we need him only for a couple of hours. Manager. See, now I have never let.
So these are the presentations of the children. All the learners get a chance to write, speak, as well as do their graphical presentation by preparing posters, pictures, diagrams, and they will also get a chance in this mainstream. So I just wish to conclude by saying the scope of language learning can be broadened up to meet the present requirements of the day and make the learners highly competitive. Enhancing listening skills proved tremendous changes in their creativity. It reflected in the better performance and contributed a great share in their overall development. Thus, I wish to conclude my paper.
Thank you very much. Comments and suggestions, please. 5 minutes. No, we'll start the next paper after having a discussion on this paper. Anyone can just put forward suggestions, comments, or any, if you want any clarification, how this project was done or implemented.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. This is Roja Rani Madhureddy.
Yes, please.
Ma'am, thank you for giving this opportunity, sir. Ma'am, it's an excellent presentation actually. We, the teachers of English, usually face this problem, and I really could understand how interactive the sessions were, and how many activities you might have provided for your teachers. Almost all of them are really useful for us, making the children to become active in the classrooms and develop the listening comprehension. It's really nice to know all these techniques, ma'am. But I would like to know, it's really commendable. Firstly, congratulations, ma'am. Now, actually, I would like to know how many, is this through the last academic year, or how many years or how many months you have taken? And here, actually, your topic is only on listening comprehension. So I think these kind of activities can also be extended to other skills of the language, right, ma'am?
Yes, I have just started this English Enjoy English project in the last academic year, when the pandemic outbreak happens, even the starting of the academic year. I just started the reading day first, that is 19th June 2021. From that day onwards, I'm just continuing. I can see that the improvement in the student responses and how active they and their family becomes really encourages me to continue. And I wish it can be continued in the coming years, even if the learning change to offline to also, we can continue all these kinds of activities. I too learned editing video in Canadian Live during this pandemic time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you to hear that. Actually, we are also doing that, but really happy to learn this, and I would also implement this. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's Anand from Karnataka. Madam, you did very well, and excellent tricks are mentioned in this your sessions. So in findings, I have one doubt, and I need some suggestions. In findings, it mentions slow learners to turn into active students in the listening skills. But you mentioned it is possible for those students who have lot of speed learner, but it is a very difficult to slow learner, and as well as in the rural area students can't come out from this activities. So if you have any easy activity or easy method or any applications to reach the third stage students or slow learner students. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, slow learners need teachers' attention more. That's the only difference that I find. That is, in a classroom of 40-50 students, almost 30% of the students come automatically to the line. They become active in their responses. So we can find out who are the people quite passive. Then we can recommend them what is possible for them. Sometimes they'll be interested in drawing a picture. We can just ask them to draw the picture that is shown in the textbook itself, or use their own imagination to make it more creative. And just we can give some placards to write some first unit in 10th standard. We have in the state syllabuses, nature, preservation of nature, glimpses of green. So how to protect nature. Nature is our home. That's enough for them. They will make a very good painting and color it and just hold the poster, and they will that will be selected for the streaming in the YouTube. So they got recognized. When they got recognized, they're motivated, they're ready to learn further. The next step, they are ready to speak 2 or 3 sentences in a speech or in something like that, the speaking or writing skill, they gradually pick up.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
But
you, sir.
what are the evaluation process in online mode? What are the evaluation process? How to conduct evaluation in online mode only?
Sir,
This is in the
evaluation.
pandemic situation. You can't meet or face to face is can't possible. The evaluation process is very important. So, what are the easy way for evaluating this?
Sir, evaluation I used to conduct through Google Forms. That is, we can give multiple choice questions. That is easy for them to click the answer and submit, even for the different levels of the learners. And it's also possible to conduct descriptive test also using Google Forms, but it is only meant for above average students. But I used to conduct interactive online sessions, that is through Google Meet, and there the students are asked to read out the answer, and the learning can be assessed through the interactive sections. And teaching is done majorly through WhatsApp group. I used to send the audio or the video where the students can listen multiple times, many times, as many time as it is required for them to learn the content. Then the interactive section, we can assess whether they have learned the expected learning content.
Thank
I
you.
hope it is clear, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Pramila, ma'am, if you permit me, I will add on to your answer.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
You can continue.
For the evaluation, there are free softwares, one such as XAM. XAMP.
Okay.
Okay, that will allow you to input
voice
the
is
evaluation
echoing.
process that you have. There is echo, right?
There is an echo, ma'am.
Oh, ma'am, echo, please.
I'll rectify it if possible. Am I clear now? No,
Yes, now it's
okay,
slightly
there are software such as XAM.
again echo. The voice is not audible, ma'am. There is background disturbances, I can feel.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Maybe ma'am
Yeah.
has logged into 2 devices, ma'am. Please.
Okay.
Okay.
It may be that, as there is a technical issue.
Am I clear now?
Yes.
Am I clear, ma'am? Am
Yes.
I audible to you right now?
Yeah, now it's audible.
Okay. There is a software called XAM, wherein you
Okay.
can integrate your evaluative process also, ma'am. Evaluation process
Okay,
can also
thank
be
you.
integrated in that.
Okay,
Where
definitely I will
student
implement.
can put student listening can be an input where they can check their listening.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will try it. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you,
Can
ma'am,
explore
for your
it.
suggestion.
Thank
Okay. So
Thank you.
I thank all of you. I think it is time.
Yeah, thank you very much for for presenting this paper. Because as we understand that there is no dearth of software, and this pandemic has given a boost to the invention of more and more software for testing defined skills. The problem is that whether we have adequate arrangement for the professional development of our teachers, because as the earlier speaker pointed out, unless our teachers are technologically qualified, technologically proficient, then they can't. All these things only possible. But you have done it quite well, and the experiment that you have done proves points out the feasibility of this approach. And another learning is that, as you suggested nicely, that even after when the pandemic is over, we should continue this learning, the advantages that we had during this pandemic. In spite of the sorrowful days that we spent or that we are spending during this pandemic, we have been learning a lot regarding this technology. And I think this technology, the role of technology should be extended to ELT even when this pandemic is over. That will be a great benefit to our ELT fraternity. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we go for the next presenter, Ms. Priya Sharma, application of the silent way and the community language learning methods on online platforms for, please start.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Priya Sharma from School of Languages, KIT University. Today, I'll be briefly talking about my paper, Application of the Silent Way and Community Language Learning Methods on Online Platforms for Immersive Learning. First, I'd like everybody to take a look at this, as we are all already aware that due to this pandemic situation, all of the offline classes are now being conducted online. Even though the platform has changed, the methodology for most of the teachers seem to remain the same. It's just like the rote learning method has just shifted its platform. And also there is a drastic decrease in the environment control. The teacher is not able to completely be in touch with the students. All the visible cues are missing due to network issues and the videos being off, and the teacher cannot really force or cannot really coax the students to participate in the class. And another issue that has happened is that in India, to give an example, we have both specified textbooks already prescribed that the teacher has to complete throughout the course. And it just so happens that when there's a textbook available, obviously the solutions are also there, and it's now all easily accessible to the students on the online platform. In an offline platform, such kind of imitation could have been controlled, but on an online platform, Google is just a click away, and the students can see the answers and answer when the teacher is asking. And it just so happens that especially high school students, they are quite self-conscious. They do not really wish to speak in front of the class, even in this online platform. And to just give an example, you can see on the website here, everything regarding the textbook is basically available. So all the answers being available, this results in some problems. It just so happens that doesn't matter how the teacher goes about those textbooks, the students end up being imitative. Their creativity is hindered, and all their different skills quite become stagnant. They do not wish to even further go beyond the textbooks just for the sake of being in the comfort zone. So to tackle this problem of how these solutions are available and how we can go beyond the stagnation stage and make the students participate, I kind of thought of this, that maybe we can follow a few steps and the interaction between the teachers and the students can be changed up. So expose, immerse, develop, and express. I think if we follow these, it will be quite helpful for the students. Teacher can act just as a manager, as a silent observer, instead of just speaking out to the students and telling them as to how things are happening. They can demonstrate things to the students and show them maybe through examples. And what we can do is make the students interact with themselves without the presence of the teacher, because as students are self-conscious, they will be not willing to speak out, and when they are with their friends, they can be open and talk about themselves. And the best way will be to go beyond these e-solve textbooks and maybe gamify the learning process a bit. So I would like to actually show a skeletal lesson plan that I was coming up for this paper. And for like the students basically have a 5-day class. But one has to keep in mind whenever we are preparing anything for the students, when it comes to a practical level, that high school students specifically, they have to go through around 10 subjects throughout the whole of the week, and their creative juices are but limited, and so the classes have to be balanced in such a way that the students can also participate and also can be on the listening side where they can acquire the knowledge. So one way to go about this is to divide the week into different kind of classes. It can start with an interactional and instructional class and end with a similar one, interspersed by some hands-on experiences classes in which the students will be collaborating with themselves, with the teacher as an observer who will just see if they are working as required or not. And to give an example, on the first day, the teacher can maybe tell them about what reported speech is or maybe what prepositions are. And the best way actually will be not just to speak out, but maybe demonstrations. Like they can take a glass and a piece of paper and position them in such a way to show as to how prepositions actually work in real life. And then they can, on the second day, it can be just like, to give an example of the Zoom platform, the teacher can make out breakout rooms over there. As classes usually have around 40 students, it will be impossible for the teacher to give focus to the single students one by one. So let the students group themselves up, let them be with their friends and start an activity. You can tell them to do a free writing session. Basically, they can write a story or they can write an essay in which each portion is contributed by a person. The first student starts, is continued by the second student, and as such, they can prepare a complete document of the story or essay they have come up with. The teacher can give them prompts. For example, they can even include the other writing skills in it. They can say that Mrs. Sheila had received a letter that completely shocked her and changed her life. So they have to write a story. Within it, it will be a letter. And as such, they can cooperate all these kind of elements and make their own story. On the third day, this activity can be continued in a different manner. The story that had been written by the students, now on an individual basis or on the group basis, they can be asked to identify some grammar elements in it. Instead of going through the exercises available in the textbooks, they can find the grammar elements in their own writings. And even maybe the teacher can ask them to convert it in the direct speech over there into reported speech, and the exercises can be conducted on the writings of the students themselves. So writing and reading something that they have written themselves and being in the comfortable zone in the friend circle with just the teacher as an observer who can just switch through the rooms and see if the students are doing or not and check the documents after the class. So the students will get immersed in this process and things will stay in their memory for a long time. They can even have the dialogue writing through their own writings, converting the short stories into dialogues. And maybe on the fourth day, it can be so that the groups can come together. Two groups will be there in the same room, and one of the groups will be reading out, role playing their own dialogues as characters, and the other team will be listening to them, and a Google form or maybe a document will be given containing some questions that they have to answer right after the presentation of the other team. And it can also be vice versa. And as such, what happens is that different skills are getting inculcated into a few activities: listening and reading and writing and etc. all get included in all of these activities. So basically what happens is that through the interactional sessions, the teacher can get to know the students' nature and what the students want to do and are lacking. And as an observer, they can see how the things are progressing and they can switch things up so that it will be the most beneficial for the students. To conclude this, I like to say that students are actually the best resources when it comes to your materials. And although there are many digital aids available, if we include them into each and every portion, it might be quite tedious. The students will have to jump from one thing to the other, and it will be quite difficult for them to get interactive with all these kind of things. So what we are using as digital aids should be kept in check, and interaction between the students without the presence of the teacher so that they can learn through each other should be promoted in the classroom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. You have raised a very serious question or the serious problem that is, that has affected this online ELT. Because as you rightly said, that nicely put it on the first slide, I think, that rote learning transferred online. We are so habituated to rote learning that the moment ELT started online, teaching became online, we transferred it online also. And therefore, because as you have rightly pointed out, all the answers are available on the net. Why should children attend your online classes? Take any lesson from the NCERT textbook and just write down the question on the net. You get the answer immediately. Sometimes I'm a bit confused about this CBSE question, a particular question on English, for example, for class 10. From which lesson did it? In which lesson do I get it? Well, I need not. I just have to type the question on the net. Immediately, the answer will come, and I can find out from which lesson it has been taken up. Now, how to solve this problem? And you have rightly pointed out these four. I like it very much. The question of expose, immerse, and develop, and express. And now, the way what you suggested regarding the role of the teacher as an observer, teacher as a facilitator, I think can play a very constructive role in this present situation. And if we want to want to make our online classroom interactive, and you refer to community learning, and you wanted to make the children to have this hands-on experience. In that case, I think during the online teaching, teachers should take the back seat and should facilitate the learning of the children from the back, not teaching from the front. And anyway, your suggestions are very good and nice presentation. I would like to request others to comment on this paper or to put forward suggestions in this field.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, I do agree with you, because writing is an abstract skill, and we know our students will be facing a lot of difficulty in writing because it requires accuracy. We all do adopt many different strategies, and I like this lesson plan. Definitely, it is to be followed by almost all the teachers. Even I too would like to. Though I'm following different strategies, I would be adopting this. And I would like to suggest from my side, which I am doing actually might be useful to all the teachers, which we all know. Actually, I am using the graphic organizers, ma'am. They are playing a vital role in writing the discourses actually. Of course, in the hands-on experience, and here you might be using all of them. But I think actually they are making the students to learn easily, because we would be giving, when we give the layout, it's being very easy for them to at least follow the pattern. So thanks a lot, ma'am. It's really nice.
That's great. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
Somebody raised a hand. Please. Somebody wanted to ask a question. Please ask the question.
Yeah, I had raised my hand. My name is Rohit. So I want to ask the panelist. As far as I went through your presentation, I think some issues have been addressed, wherein the unilateral way of instruction, as we observe in most of the online teaching medium, is taken care of. I just wanted to know when you give space for feedback, you might be experiencing a need for some level-based feedback. So how do you take care of that in this in this system of lesson plan? Or is there any predetermined method wherein you prepare the breakout rooms as per the level of the students?
To say this, first of all, a teacher has to kind of see as to what the levels of the students obviously are. The idea of breakout room grouping was that the students can choose their group mates on their own. As for feedback, when it comes to group activities, it will be group based instead of the feedback being given in front of the whole of the class with the team. Maybe in the document that they are sharing, the teacher can add on the comments and maybe show what all things they can maybe change up, and in that way it can be given. The feedback when it comes to day 5 is basically to give a feedback of the overall class as to how they have performed and what they can kind of change and do it like that. And it will actually be really great if the teacher can, through these classes, know as to who are the most interactive students and make sure that at least one active participant and one well-learned student is there in each of these groups. So that was what I was thinking when it comes to feedback.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Any more questions? At least one more questions or suggestions.
Yeah, sir, I would like to extend my bit suggestion, the thing which we the teachers are following. So I think, sir, that when we go for this feedback, we can even go for the peer feedback. I think that is yes, ma'am. That's making the children to learn more, ma'am, because there would be a competitive spirit among the students, and they would be learning from one another. And so I think the peer feedback, even we can use the digital tools like Padlet, etc., to give the peer feedback and to grade. Actually those things worked out with a few students in my class. So I think they are also useful. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, this is a very good suggestion, because you see, when I'm a single teacher, and now I have created 4 or 5 breakout rooms. Now it is not always possible for me to be present in all the breakout rooms at the same time. Now, if I ask those who are a bit advanced, there is the peer feedback. The peer feedback, as you mentioned, I think especially in the breakout rooms, sometimes the students become more active, and learning from peers, sometimes it is non-threatening. Because if I tell a student, look, you should have written it like that, and if his or her friend tells her that, well, look, you could do it like that, I think that will be less threatening and on the part of the learner, and that's why peer feedback is very good. And while listening to the discussion, I was thinking of the question of preparing a rubric, because if the objective is competency based teaching, then in that case, if the teacher prepares a rubric and uses the rubric, those who are at the A level, at the B level, at the C level, at the D level, for example, it depends on how you prepare. Our teacher can use that also. And there may be a session for the more advanced a bit more advanced learners, where you can give them some tips that in the breakout rooms they have to help their friends in overcoming problems faced by them. There are different ways in which we can use the breakout rooms, and I think the very concept of using breakout rooms for is a direct learning that we got during the online classes that we have been conducting during the pandemic.
Yes, sir.
If we don't have any more questions, then it's over. Thank you, Ms. Priya Sharma.
Thanks a lot, everyone. It has been a wonderful session.
Now we'll go for the next presenter, Ms. Pushpa D, Creative Writers in English through WhatsApp classes. Please start.
Good afternoon to the respected chairperson, moderators, co-presenters, delegates, and viewers. First of all, I would like to thank RIESI Bangalore and IT for Change for conducting this international conference to overcome the difficulties to reach our children by sharing the educational initiatives taken by various nations. I am D. Pushpa, an English teacher working in Panchayat Union Middle School, Garansi, Kunnu, the Nilgiris, Tamil Nadu. Last year, I had conducted WhatsApp classes to involve students in online education. 2 students emerged as young creative writers from an utter remote village school. This is the success story that I am intending to share with you through this paper. WhatsApp groups of PUMS Garansi. News readers of Garansi, which I created on 16th August 2019 to keep in touch with students, alumni, parents, and well-wishers of our school. Through this, we organized awareness for the students during the pandemic. Well-wishers of our school kindled our students through drawing competitions, and feedback from them motivated our students to do better. Students updated songs, tongue twisters, and phonic drills after writing in their English notebooks. Online class group. This group elicited our students to participate in the oral competition on the great Tamil poet Bharatiya's birthday from 1st December 2019. From January 2020, I shared the online educational radio link, which is easy to access and free from unwanted websites. Children regularly shared a page of handwriting by observing my YouTube videos. Creative Writers 2021. I created this WhatsApp group on 27/2/2020 to do exploratory action research under the meticulous guidance of Professor Ravinarayan Chakrakudi while I was doing CELT training at RIESI.
Hello, sorry to interrupt. There is background noise. I think those who are not speaking, can you just be on silent mode? Yes, sir. Yeah, now it's all right. Yes, please go ahead.
Creative Writers 2021. I created this WhatsApp group on 27/2/2020 to do exploratory action research under the meticulous guidance of Professor Ravinarayan Chakrakudi while I was doing CELT training at RIESI Bangalore. I briefly explained to the parents that teaching the lesson is not possible at all for me during the pandemic. But with the support of parents, I can guide them to become creative writers so that they can utilize their time productively. I selected the students from 5th to 8th standard. Out of 22, 17 parents possessed smartphones. I conducted a pre-test by providing a topic daily like myself, my family, my mother tongue, tongue twisters, etc. To grow their interest level, I began with word games like Antakshari, coin new words, etc. On seeing the students' involvement, parents joined their hands. Creative Writers Group activities. I have given the songs from the collections of British Council and various trainings, tongue twisters from the book Little Giant Book of Tongue Twisters, handwriting, my YouTube link, phonic drill, the songs Let Us Sing by S&D Margaret W. Torrent book, and also I shared my YouTube videos on it, creative writing, a topic a day, basic structural words, dictation, and also sound-based dictation from Jolly Phonetics. WhatsApp worksheet. In the newsreaders group, as children are fond of songs, I shared song regularly, which I had contributed to online educational radio. The students could listen to them multiple times whenever they find time. Tongue twisters. I shared the recorded audio of tongue twisters for practicing. My children listened to those and sent their recorded audio to the group after writing in their notebooks. Phonic drill. I shared 23 lessons on phonic drills through my YouTube videos, which they watched and shared. Online class group. I gave handwriting practice by sharing my YouTube link and also handwritten copy of it in the group to follow easily. Individual message. Every day, I uttered sounds which they listened to it, and in the WhatsApp group, later they typed the words and sent them to me privately. Creative Writers Group. I carefully monitored their various activities in their respective groups and did corrections in time. In the Creative Writers Group, I assigned various topics regularly to write on their own. For 45 days, I provided the topics like my father, my siblings, my grandparents, my pet animal, my lockdown academic year, unforgettable event in my life, etc. I persuaded them to write about any picture from their textbook. I conducted alphabetical games and prepared them to write the name of schoolmates by adding an eatable that originates from their first letter. I coached them to write 3 words for each alphabet that begins and ends with the same letter. I directed them to write double-letter words for each alphabet. I conducted vocabulary games like identify 50 objects from your home, execute 50 things from your school, pick up 25 rhyming words from poems, examine the rhyming words from songs. At last, I had inspired them to write a short poem on their own. I engaged students to frame their sentences for the basic structural words. I encouraged them to write on a new topic every day. Day by day, our students' involvement increased exponentially. Over time, they had gained the confidence to write creative stories, and as a bonus, parents started spending more quality time with them. The problems faced by our students. Out of 17 students, only 9 students attended the WhatsApp classes without failing and completed the tasks up to date. 5 students attended classes regularly, but they had some issues with very sparse submission. Others faced problems like no smartphones, unable to recharge, network issues, not interested, lack of parental cooperation, fear of misuse of the phone in the absence of parents. Some steps I have taken to overcome all these difficulties. For the students without the smartphone, I call them through normal calls on every weekend and send messages to do certain activities by utilizing textbooks and also through Tamil Nadu government Kalvi TV, educational TV. Day by day, number of WhatsApp users increased. I recharged for the internet connection for the needy students. For the students with poor internet connectivity, I asked them to connect via the online Kalvi radio website, which works even in 2G, that is initiated by the teachers of Tamil Nadu government, volunteer teachers. I requested the parents to share their mobile phones between 7 to 8, both in the morning and in the evening, to know and upload the task for the day. Students' activities were appreciated in various groups. This made the rest of the students actively participate in online learning process. Young creative writers of PMS Garansi, Kunnu, the Nilgiris, Tamil Nadu. CS Darshini and A. Sanjana Varan are the 2 young creative writers who emerged from our school because they finished all the assigned work and started to expand their horizons. Now they have become capable to write stories on their own using emojis. They wrote stories on titles The Golden Fish, The Foolish Cat, Darshan of Shiva, The Wild Elephants, The Poor Boy Became a Rich Boy, The Girl and the Tsunami, The Man and the Officers, The Virus, Diwali of the Poor Man, The Poor Old Man and a Boy. Salient features of creative writing. Creative writing develops innovative and critical thinking. Continuous and consistent writing results in children having tremendous fun while doing something they enjoy. It improves their cognitive and emotional skills. In a world where communication predominantly happens via text messages and emojis are so common, creative writing helps to develop writing skills that are being forgotten about. CS Darshini and A. Sanjana Varan contributed 100 proverbs and 100 tongue twisters in online educational radio. Uninterrupted teaching learning during the pandemic. We expect all the students to become creative writers. Pandemic is a situation to be isolated from school, not from educational activities. If we contact them via WhatsApp classes regularly with the support of parents, all the students will become active and be the best citizens of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pushpa, for your nice presentation. And the concluding slide, pandemic is a situation to be isolated not from schools, not from educational activities. Now you referred to your YouTube videos. Is this the link?
Yes, sir, I shared the links.
Can you have access to this link? I think, no? It will be nice, I think, to have access to this link. Now, your paper points out one thing very clearly, that everything is not lost. Sorry, everything is not lost. If we have the initiative, if we have the desire, in spite of the pandemic, in spite of the dreadful days that we have been spending, we can do something for our children. And it is wonderful to note that your initiative made the parents also quite active, and they were motivated to help their children. And the way in which you created the group, the creative writers, and you mentioned that two of them became quite proficient writers. That is something good. And your motto, that is creative writing, one topic a day. I think one topic a day keeps corona away. We can put it like that also. That, at least the children, it saved the children from monotony, from anxiety. And some steps that you have taken, really, it is very highly commendable. I think all of us who are listening to you, we must congratulate you on your ventures. And because it points out that we teachers, we can do a lot. When we often complain that teachers, our children, many children from the disadvantaged group, they don't have smartphones, and that's why they can't. But we have our phones. At least making a call a day to our children who don't have smartphones and give them some instructions, if we can interact with them, how much does it cost? But it gives a good. It makes the students feel interested and drawn to the teachers, and of course you are kind enough to recharge their connection also. That's what you did. But what impresses me very much is that the way in which you could involve the parents. Parents' involvement is very important. And this pandemic has taught us one thing, that if we want to make our online learning meaningful and interesting to our children, we should have the confidence of the parents. Whether they are literate or not, that is a different question. But that's just a positive attitude of the teachers will go a long way. Anyway, thank you very much for your presentation. It's open for discussion. Questions and suggestions, please.
Thank you, sir. This is Rojarani Madhavidi once again. Ma'am, congratulations. It's really a nice presentation and very useful presentation, and almost related to each and every teacher for the past 1 year. Because we are all going through the WhatsApp groups, and we all experience many hurdles and challenges also. We met the WhatsApp groups, and we know that means while going through your study, yeah, I could recall all my experiences. I think all the teachers over here also recall their experiences. And I'm really, actually, I associate myself with this last sentence, which last slide, that is pandemic is a situation, as rightly pointed out by sir, that we should not be isolated from the schools. As a teacher, definitely we need to support them. Because without our support, usually we know now many of the students, usually we come across a heterogeneous group, and there would be some low proficient learners. And this pandemic, actually, though we are in touch with them in the WhatsApp, through the WhatsApp or Google Classroom or the learning platforms like Zoom, etc., we know how many students are joining us. There might be irregularity once again. So we are facing a lot of challenges, but still Yes, we need to try. And WhatsApp is the group which makes us to be in touch with them. And even we can also make the calls to the parents. Really appreciable, ma'am. This is what do I say, purposeful actually and realistic.
Thank
Congratulations,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, Pushpa ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations on the wonderful presentation. I'm just excited to know about the activity which you shared, coin new words activity.
Yes, ma'am.
So could you please explain me about that so that I can implement in my classroom?
Yes, ma'am. For example, there is a word teacher. From that word, we can make so many words. He, he, the, the, her, her. Like that, we can make from a single word, we can make many more words. That is called coin new words. We used to call it as kangaroo words also.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Because I think all of us, all of us who listen to this presentation, we could connect ourselves to this kind of I should say adventures that we did, because all the teachers in various parts of the country use WhatsApp in different capacities, and all of them have their wonderful stories, success stories, and I think we should disseminate this kind of success stories in the field of ELT throughout the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can we go for the next presentation? Mr. Rafiq, impact of online resources on teaching English as a second language to rural and urban students. Please start.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today's topic that I have selected for the discussion is the impact of online resources on teaching and learning of English as a second language to rural and urban students. Can I go to the next slide, please?
Madam, below your slide, you can able to see the arrows. So just try to click on those arrows to move the slides.
Right, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. To begin with, we did it. From hand-holding to screen sharing, from chalk to chat, from blackboard to dashboard, from real to virtual. Journey was mysterious, but we, the teachers, did it. From offline to online, from keep quiet to speak up, from no mobile to turn on your mobile, from conventional to technical, the journey was difficult, but we did it. From notebook to screenshot, from teacher's assessment to self-assessment, from classroom to Zoom, from school to home, the journey was strange, but we did it. Education as a lifelong process certainly determines the quality of life. Desirable attitudes, worthy knowledge, virtues of admirable life, novel skills, and thoughts are best imparted through quality education. Facilitating appropriate platform for quality education is the responsibility of educators such as teachers, policymakers, curriculum developers, etc. Therefore, the role of teachers within the premises of education is in fact immense because it is the teacher who can design the learning environment according to the need of her or his students. Wherein innovations in teaching becomes part and parcel of teachers' professional accountability. Moreover, challenging situations due to pandemic like corona have made it inevitable to depend on educational technology to carry out educational activities. Technology in teaching. The impact of technology is immense on education given the explosive direction of technological development added with extreme creativity of tech-savvy teachers and entrepreneurs, including student entrepreneurs. Blockchains, smart boards, artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtual classrooms, handheld computing devices, adaptive computer testing for student development, are novel technological advancements which not only change the classroom's teaching learning setup, but also they assist in class understanding how students learn. Technology to teach English. Fortunately, the world is open to everyone through an amazing window called Internet. Learning anything and everything is facilitated with this advancement in the usage of Internet. And when it comes to teaching English, ample of tools and online resources such as Google Docs, Lectutor, Analyze My Writing, Info Please, Learn English, etc. are quite engaging, encouraging, and learning for the 21st century youngsters, as technology has become a driving force of almost every facet of their life. Since my study is empirical, the presentation is in accordance with the study. Objectives of the present study: to investigate the alternative ways followed by English language teachers to teach English to students during pandemic, to study the impact of online resources on students in learning English as second language, both from rural and urban. Hypothesis of the study: there is no significant difference in the mean pre-test scores of writing skills. I have taken up writing skills. So there is no significant difference in the mean pre-test, post-test, and delayed post-test. To talk about the findings of the study, I found that there was no significant difference in the mean scores of pre-test, post-test, and delayed post-tests of writing skills in English among pre-university students belonging to rural and urban locality. This was a little surprising for me as a researcher. Of course, we as researchers must not be presumed or have some presumption about the results. But somewhere I had a presumption that there would be definitely difference between the learning outcome of rural and urban students. Students belong to rural and urban locality, but unlike that, I found there was no significant difference in the pre, post, and delayed post test of writing skills in English among pre-university students belonging to rural and urban locality. Therefore, my implications of the study go like this. Since there was no significant difference in the mean pre-test, post-test, and delayed post-test scores of writing skills in English among pre-university students belonging to rural and urban locality, multimedia integration is effective for both rural and urban students. Hence, irrespective of the locality of the students, teacher can integrate online resources in teaching English. To talk about the arrangement of prerequisites, of course, teacher in consultation with the management and in collaboration with the faculty must arrange the prerequisites such as device, of course, internet, and other requirements, dominantly language lab, which I did not find during my research when I visited many of the colleges. Availability and open accessibility of online resources exclusively for English language teaching and learning. Teacher must be acquainted with the knowledge of availability and open accessibility of online resources. Advancement in students' learning and thinking. This must be oriented by the teacher again, since the teacher is a driving force. Teacher must orient students to have knowledge of such advancement in technology to learn anything and everything when we talk about particularly English. Involvement of the management is expected to successfully carry out the integration of online resources or multimedia resources in teaching English. Encouragement by the teachers and parents to the students to utilize online resources for learning language. Encouragement from the parents is expected because after class enrichment activities which we assign to students can be done under the assistance of parents, even without the assistance of parents. But ultimately what matters is the involvement of parents for the success. So encouragement by the teachers as well as the parents is expected. Alertness by the teachers. English language teachers must have enough knowledge to check the content in online resources. This is very much important. I, as a researcher, had integrated YouTube videos, some slides as well, and online resources. But when I went on exploring the online resources, I found some online resources were not up to that level of students. I had selected the target group was PUC students. So the content, when I checked with the comprehension level of the students, I found some content was appropriate and some was lower and some was higher to their level. So teacher must be alert enough to check the content in online resources and then use the source in teaching English. Training to the language teachers and students. This is at most important. Teachers must be oriented about the availability and utility of such resources through orientation classes. Need of creativity and spirit of learning in both teachers and learning. This is expected from teachers and learners both. There must be a need of creativity, which means if students are oriented towards some resources, they must be creative enough to explore further, as well as they should have spirit of learning, so that this usage of resources, online resources to teach English should be successful. Association with the institutions and organizations like RIE, CIFL, LTIF would be beneficial in this way. And through this. Thank you. I'm done with this, sir.
Yeah, Mr. It's open for questions and suggestions. Well, Dr. Rafik, first of all, I would like to congratulate you on your study that you did and the way in which you have demystified our notions of urban and rural divide. Can you show this, the other next slide, in which there is a poem regarding handholding? Yes. Did you compose it?
Yes, sir. I actually went through such circumstances where I found it is interesting to come out with such composition.
Yeah, because I think everyone present here will like it very much because while you have this, because you have presented it very nicely, right from hand holding to screen sharing, chalk to chat, blackboard to dashboard, real to virtual, and conclusion that we teacher, the journey was mysterious. Yes, it was mysterious. It was adventurous, but we teachers did it. I think this kind of a poem or a song can be the theme song of this conference, where we English teachers, in spite of our limitations, in spite of heavy odds, we did a wonderful job to the extent possible. And the way in which you presented that there is no significant difference in the mean of the pre-test, post-test, and delayed test scores of writing skills in English among the pre-university students belonging to rural and urban areas is quite significant. And just like the previous speaker, you have also emphasized on this point that the involvement of the parents is quite important for the success of any online course. As I pointed out earlier also, and I would like to repeat it, whether the parents are literate or illiterate, that is not the point. It is a question of their attitude, their positive approach, because you refer to the after-class enrichment. After-class enrichment, if the students don't get enough encouragement and the support of the parents, then it becomes very difficult for them. And that's why this pandemic has taught us one thing very well, that whether the parents can actively participate in the learning process or not, their parental support in the journey of the children is quite important. And the other point that you raised, that English teachers must have enough knowledge to check the content of online resources. I think that goes very well with the with your paper, because you wanted to study the impact of online resource. Everything is available on the net, but we teachers, we should know, we should have the ability to find out what is useful, what is not useful, what is to be accepted and what not to be accepted. There is a huge task, but I think this pandemic has taught us, this has made us conscious of the importance of becoming aware of the quality of the online resources. Whatever is available on online should not be accepted. And I think we should tell our students also to be careful of this danger. Anyway, it was a nice presentation. Thank you very much. I would like others also to comment, please.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Rafiq Taj ma'am. It's really good. Actually, yeah, I do agree with your point. As sir was saying, actually, I even, with your permission, actually, I took the photograph of that poem which you have written. Really, it shows how we teachers are really adjustable, and we have converted ourselves to be zealous and passionate, and get adjusted, become adventurous, and be creative in the modern day. Yes, actually, sorry to say this word, but I think most of the teachers, as one of the teachers among the fraternity, I say that first we were obligated to learn the online teaching and digital technology. But once we started learning them, I think this is my personal opinion, and knowing from my friends, I share this on behalf of all others, that first we were obligated to learn the digital technology. But once we started of learning that, we have become so zealous and passionate that today we have learned many of the digital tools and are implementing them. I mean, you integrating them with our teaching learning process. Really, it's really nice, ma'am, to go through the poem and all the points and implications of your study. Even I agree with the implications of your study that a teacher should be committed, yes, and we need to be creative, and the spirit of learning should be evoked among both the teachers and the students. Unless this is evoked, in spite of many of our efforts, might be the innovative methods or the alternative methods which we are adopting, we can't realize our objectives of teaching learning. So I do really agree with this, and we require once again the support of the parents, the management. It's really nice, ma'am. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
It is something like best out of this situation that we have to gain, ma'am. We have seen many sufferings and sorrows around us. Despite of that, it is we who have to gather back our courage and think that something we have to fetch best out of this situation. This is what we are going through and doing. Yeah, as you rightly said, we are compelled to do. And when there is no chance of changing the situation, I think when you can't change the situation, you have to accept it.
Yes.
You see what just now, I forgot the name who was speaking just. May I know who was speaking just?
Ma'am, Rojarani Madhareddy, sir.
Okay, you see, you have rightly pointed out the fact that in the beginning it was compulsion. It was compulsion, digital technology, using online classes and like that. For me also, it was compulsion, and now it has become a passion. And this journey from compulsion to passion, I think, has opened a new horizon for us. And I think I'll be happy that all of you, if you continue this passion even after even after this present, so when the situation improves, that we should continue this adventures that we undertook earlier. Thank you very much.
Truly, sir, thank you. And I would like to add one more point, sir, that the last point, I agree with ma'am that association with the institutions and organizations like RIESI, IFL, and ELTIE, not only this, ma'am, yeah, actually we started off learning digital technology, but that made us so passionate that we are also involved. That means we have been involved in professional development regarding to our subject also. Online courses, MOOCs, etc. Many of the teachers are involved. Really, sir, thanks a lot for providing this opportunity and this platform actually to share all these things. Congratulations once again, ma'am.
Yeah, this is also a very important point that you have raised, the question of association with the institutions and organizations, RIE, CAFL, LTIF, IATFL, International Association of English as a Foreign Language, because that unless we are we are connected with these organizations which have been working in this field of ELT, we can't, our professional journey can't be over. And that's why this point is also just at the moment also, I had another conference going on, the Future of English Language Teaching Conference. It's a free conference with the Trinity College London. They organize it every year. And actually, it started today. I was supposed to attend that online conference, but for this conference, it's already started. It started at 2:00. Now, because this is the thing that this online and our online engagement has made us aware of the ample scope that is available on the net, and the whole world has come to our doors. And this point number 10. Association with institutions and organizations for our professional development is very important. Thank you for pointing it out. Yeah, any more questions on this paper? Okay then, thank you very much, Dr. Rafi.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thanks so much.
And now we go for the next one. Rajkumar R. Teacher's psychological approach in supporting the students' continuity of educational process in the pandemic. Please start.
Good evening to one and all present here in this international conference conducted by RIESI. Thank you for giving this opportunity. My main topic is Teachers' Innovation and Challenges. The title which I have chosen is Teachers' Psychological Approach in Supporting Students' Continuity of Educational Process in the Pandemic. First of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm Raj Kamal, working as a BT English teacher in a government school, Panchayat Union Middle School, Toppambalayam, in the Bhavani Sagar block, Erode district, Tamil Nadu. So first, I want to share the barriers of learning in pandemic. So the main important matter of the pandemic itself, the barrier which comes to the students. So in this pandemic situation, closing of schools, it made the situation to a very worse level, because only by the teacher-student relationship we can enrich the student and we can get on to the good educational process. So here we are missing that chance and the happiness which we feel among the students. So that is the first barrier in this pandemic. And the second is lack of educational opportunities. So we are lacking in the educational opportunities, because being a teacher as a guide and a supporter, the teachers for their higher education and their ideas and their mental ability, the all supports has been stopped only because of the closing schools. So the third is the crucial social economic pressure. So because of the crucial social economic pressure which we know in the contemporary time, it depresses the student and also the parents. So it affects all the whole family situation, and mentally they are being very much disturbed, and also economically. The psychological problems which the students which they feel is, I want to share my experience in the in my school I used to give much advices and do psychological problem solving activities, guidance and counseling to the students. So I very often go to their place, their village, their street itself to students, because that is a low class people which they are unable to attend the school properly. The students, their parents are educated, and the students will cheat their parents, and they used to hide in the bushes. So I used to find them, and I bring them to the school and advise them and make them to sit in the class, and make them to continue their education. A lot of we can see this thing which happens to the psychological problem of the student. We see school, even at the time itself, they have this problem in learning. So we can see that with even now I give the psychological advice to the students by making phone call to them, and we can see the mental distraction of the students. So the mental distraction that we know, being the adolescent student, they have a lot of problems, and psychologically they are being very much disturbed. And also we can see the society, the problem of like medias, playing games, and the peer group. Many distractions are being there. Being the students are being in the school, which the teachers support, and indirectly by saying some moral stories or being some giving some advices, the students are brought to the educational process situation. But now they are being apart from that, being a teacher, everything, the students are being distracted and they are away. Even being the parents are being uneducated, the students are unable to be guided in a proper mode. So as a teacher, I used to call them in the before days. I used to go in direct to their home, and I used to give some advices direct to the particular students, which they are the people they are not connecting with the WhatsApp. And I used to give some advices. After that, the students are being connected, and they have got the they have improved in their education. And we can see the ill health even in the daily school process. We can see a lot of ill health problems. Even now in this situation, the students are being ill health, and they are being supervised and guided by me. And in our group there is an NGO organization named as READ. So I used to join with the NGO organization. In that NGO, the village village officer, and the president, the VHN nurse, police, the all the important people of that society village, everybody will attend that meeting. So we will discuss what all the problems which we face in the every day-to-day life, and what all the problems of the students which are being in the society, even in the even the child marriage, everything we used to discuss, and we get some ideas. And as government proper norms, we will go and approach them, and we will take over them, and we will rectify the problem of the students and make their education process in a continued way. So these things we did at that even in the school time, and also now we are doing the same. This helps the students to regain to connect with the educational process. So the students are being getting diversion, as I said, like games, everything. So by that, students are being joining, and child laboring, being a poor people, the parents are seeing the children work. This makes the students to get away from the education, that we know very well. The student will be deviated totally from the education, and if he gets the money in his hand, if he start to spend, so totally his mind will be changed. So as a teacher, I used to give advice and the importance of the future. So by that only, this is not a permanent one. Only if you're getting a good education and going to a higher position, you will achieve, and you will get a good job. So the psychological approaches, the approaches which I utilize are sparing time for the students. So here, as before the speakers, presenters, they said, I also used to make calls to them and spend time to the students. I used to ask their problems, and I used to take care of them. They used to share a lot of their problems and experiences. By that, I give some guidance to them. This helps them to rectify their problem from the home itself. So no guidance and counseling, a proper one is there, and being their parents are uneducated, it's being a very difficult one for them to get a proper guidance. So making call, I used to guide them and ask what all their problems. And the students also used to share their stress, what all they feel in their day-to-day life. I used to make their stress-free by giving some good ideas and suggestions, some motivations that help them regain their mental ability, and makes the reliability between the teacher and student. Always, as a teacher, I'm also student center, always depending on the student, and giving much importance to the students. So much of the time which we after that is away from the the technological tools, we can myself, I used to give much more time spending to the students by making calls and asking their problems to solve it. The social development approach is that creating awareness. So the student nowadays, they forget everything. They used to play, roam here and there. They don't have only the student when they are being in the classroom. We used to give advice, and the student know about what will happen and what's the importance of the future. So here, everything being forgot. So I used to give creating awareness of the students, and I start to recasting the superstitious belief by making a good bond between them, and taking initiative measure, like I used to get in this problem, in this pandemic situation, the students' parents have depressed by the economical problem also. as being as a teacher by the teachers association, we collected some money and we helped as economic wise to the parents that supported their family and also the student which reached them. So by that, by taking initiative measure which we did and being a part of the society, surely only teacher, if he's being the part of the society, the people, they will feel themselves that he is one among with us, and the students also will be with us. So that we know very well, because in while the school is going on, we'll be having the parent teacher association, the school development association, the important dignity service will be coming, and everybody will be discussing about the development of the student. So being the pandemic situation, everything are being missed. So what I used to do is I used to if they are ready to meet me, I used to meet them and ask some suggestions, what are things happening in the village, and we'll take some measures and initiatives to meet the particular problems suffering students, and we'll give the counseling and what all the needs help need to them. That support will be given by us, and that is being the society, and which it was helping our parents. So here, so before the school starts, we have to give some guidance to the students, because I don't know, some of the students, they will stop in between, and even if they are not attending the school for some 10 or 15 days, the continuity of their education will be break. So as a teacher, we'll give the guidance, and once again they will pull and will make their continuity in the education. Being a pandemic, the students are being for months and year in the home, so they will lose their some of the students, they may lose their idea of learning and continuing the education. So by giving a good guidance to the students about the importance of education, only then we can regain the student and make joy to the educational process. So the closed connectivity, it is being between the parent and the student, which we as a teacher, which we to have to a teacher be a give a good counseling to the students and also to the teacher, also to the parents, because the parents also being uneducated, because of that they may already they may send to a child labor and getting some money, they may happy with it. So we should say the importance of their future. By that, the students also, the parents also will help us to send the student to the school. So thus the parents relationship which we get from the teacher parent relationship, it helps the students education, and the process will be educational process will be good. So by that, this psychological approach will be very helpful for the students. That is the need, I hope so, because the technological aids already as a formal one, they have made as a compulsion or a formal one for the teacher to keep in touch with the student, and also to continue the process is being happened. The only thing nowadays it's being missed by the student is the relationship, the real relationship with the teacher parent and also the student. That's the thing which is being missed, and I am not missing it, I am making as a connection by doing these all the activities. Thank you everybody for listening to me. Thank you everybody for giving this opportunity. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rajkomal, for your paper. The theme of the conference itself, as I mentioned earlier, English language teaching during the pandemic times, grappling with the new normal. Now, can you please just enlighten us how this paper is related to ELT, especially because we are here discussing or exploring the possibility of ELT during the pandemic. What lesson we learned, especially in the field of ELT. This is one, and this nice. You mentioned the barriers,
Yes,
closing of schools, lack of educational opportunities, and crucial socioeconomic pressure, and our children had to withstand this onslaught of the pandemic. Not only the children, even we teachers also had to face. And because and then there is a psychological problems you have rightly pointed out. A lot of psychological problems regarding loss of parents, loss of near and dear ones. Now and the kind of mental distraction or the kind of ill health, child labor. Even there are reports in the newspaper of early child marriage, which happened during last 1 year because parents were not because parents were more interested in getting their daughters off instead of sending because there was no school, no education. All these barriers, psychological problems, and in the midst of all these problems, you did a wonderful job, no doubt. The way in which you just took initiative for social development. But again, in one of the slides, you mentioned that the steps to be taken before school reopening, and you mentioned four steps. One is guidance, other is the close connectivity, counseling, and parental relationship. Now, in that case, how do you make a distinction between guidance and counseling? I'm rather curious to know if you just shed light on that. And question of close connectivity. Yes, this is that parent, teacher, student. You have nicely presented graphically. That's good. But what will be the impact of these steps on ELT especially? If you could elaborate on that point, I think it will help us to a great extent. That's my observation. And
yes,
and I would like others also to put forward their suggestions.
yes,
Yes, please. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Once again, thank you for giving. This is Roja Rani, sir. Sir, it's
Yes.
excellent. Actually, psychology plays an important role because unless the mental well-being of the students is also very important. That plays a vital role. We all do agree with that. But as sir pointed out, really, sir, guidance and counseling, this is needed and we are doing. So if
Yes,
you could
ma'am.
really come up with what kind of guidance you are providing related to ELD and what sort of counseling is being provided, in what way. So if you could come up, then we would discuss, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, some of the students in our village, they don't have the mobile phone facility, and even some of the parents, being a pandemic, they are not allowing the students to go to their next home. So they are afraid of the pandemic problem. And I used to get a mobile. I used to take my mobile phone, and I used to go in direct to the student, and I used to maintain the distance, and I used to give the student to the mobile, and I give the educational teaching in direct by going to their village itself. By that I am doing it. And some of the, because for their being poor, the technology is not they are unable to utilize it. I used to guide them, like of utilizing YouTube channels which are allotted by the government, and also what all the things like worksheets which I used to develop, that I used to show it to them, and I used to make them to fulfill it, and I'll get it, and I'll make correction, and I will send it through the WhatsApp. And like these students, straight away I go to them in direct, and I'll give the guidance and ideas. This is the process which I am doing.
Thank
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, really, you're absolutely right, sir. Actually, we are all sailing in the same boat. Yeah, when we go for the guidance, I think I would be once again reframing what you said. I do agree with you, sir. Here, as
Yes, ma'am.
students, when we come for the online mode of teaching, here we need to guide them in the usage of different online digital tools, right, sir? So there we are
Yes, ma'am.
extending the guidance to the students, whether it is
Yes, ma'am.
WhatsApp or usage of YouTube or joining the Google Classroom, using and posting assignments to Google Classroom, or whatever the digital tools we use, we need to guide
Okay.
them in using them, right, sir? Not only that,
Yes, ma'am.
how to search the information from the internet, what are the different open
Yeah.
resources that are available to them in doing the projects or whatever we provide them. Yes, sir. And coming
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
counseling, I think, sir, we are going through the counseling. As you said, yes, we need to counsel the parents. Teacher counseling is also needed sometimes, and also the students, right,
Yes.
sir? So
Yes,
coming to the
ma'am.
counseling,
Sure,
yes,
ma'am.
you are absolutely right, sir. And linking to the ELT, I would like to say one thing, that is, in the counseling process here, when we are doing many things, we are trying to do as many things as possible for the sake of our children and for others also, because without them we are meaningless. So we will be doing
Okay.
many things, but here, unless we get the encouragement from the parents, because parents and teachers are equivalent in encouraging the child. So that's the reason we need to go for the counseling of the parents, making them to know it is their responsibility. Suppose that we are conducting the online classes, but how many students are attending? Sorry to say this, sir, but I think many of the teachers are facing this problem. Suppose in my
Yes, ma'am.
class, if there are 88 students in one of the sections, even though we conduct the classes regularly, the maximum strength which will be attending will be 45 to 50.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, sir? So what do?
Yes.
We generally go for counseling the students. Not only that, we also go for counseling the parents. So parent-teacher
Parents.
meets, which used to be offline, now will be once again in the online. We are counseling them, we are inviting them, and we are making them to realize their responsibility in encouraging the child to attend the classes, and also to super, because we are now not face to face. So we would be asking them to go to the class. The parents are providing them by all the means, but these students may be misusing those gadgets. So that is also
Yes,
their
ma'am.
responsibility. So we are counseling the parents. That means here making them to realize their own responsibility, making them to realize the solutions and find the solutions for their own problems from their students' point of view, their point of view, and that is called as counseling, I think. And if we can relate this in making the teachers to parents to realize the responsibility towards educating their children, usage of resources, either from the society or from the teachers. Thank you, sir.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, because this is a learning that we had from the pandemic. The parental support, parents, cooperation of the parents. The parental support is essential for the success of any online course, because in a face-to-face classroom we are there and we could monitor. We could monitor the child's or monitor the children's activities. But here it is in online mode. The children are far away from us. We don't have any scope knowing what they are doing, but the parents are there, and that's why counseling the parents, as you have rightly pointed out, is very important. And making, especially in the Indian context, making the parents responsible, making the parents aware of the responsibility that they have. So for the success of the online courses, online classes, they should be alert, and making the parents alert and active in this whole business is quite important. And you have rightly pointed out, and thank you for the elaborating this point. Anyone else? Any other suggestions? Because we English teachers can't fight this battle all alone. We need the support of the parents, and that's why the counseling of the parents and soliciting their help and assistance for the success of the online course is very important. Thank you very much for your presentation. We'll go for the next. Yeah, dealing with divergent young learners. Rujarani, yes. Yes, please.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes. Please start.
Let me set the timer. Hello to all. Sir, am I visible?
No, madam. No, madam.
Now?
You are audible. Yeah.
Am I visible now?
You are audible, madam, but not visible. Now you are visible. You are visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hello to all. Good afternoon to the chairperson, Dr. Partha. Right now I'm feeling a blend of emotions. I'm nervous as well as excited since it is my first experience on paper presentation that was on international platform. I am teacher researcher Rashida Inamdar, fortunate and proud mentee of Mr. Nazir's ARMS team 2019-20. I'm a graduate teacher of English. I facilitate second language for grade 6 to 8 children since past 5 years at Government MPKBS Sindhi, State Karnataka, India. Can I? Okay. Here is my next slide. Okay. The most challenging times bring us the most empowering lessons. It is common to have divergent young learners in the same class. There are some learners who learn English naturally and the other who struggle greatly because of natural variations, or we can say it individual differences. To take care of every child's educational need, facilitator need to experiment different teaching styles, strategies, and approaches. In this traumatizing era of pandemic, I plan 2 ways to reach out my children for uninterrupted teaching and learning process. As you can see on the slide, there are 2 pictures. One is of e-learning and second one is one-on-one learning. These are the 2 ways of my approaches to the learners. In e-learning approach, I created grade-wise WhatsApp groups where I share study-oriented videos, pictures, and self-designed worksheets based on their textbooks with some needed instructions. In the beginning, it was tough to build a rapport between me and my children. Whenever children encounter difficulty, they come to me or online, that means by calling directly or sending voice note for clarification. Eventually, the teaching and learning process was enjoyable. In the second approach, that is nothing but one-on-one learning approach, for the experiential learning, 5 teaching spots were fixed, convenient to the learners. I used to go there every day, carrying books, worksheets, and TLMs. That is teaching learning material, which was a bit difficult task for me. In this approach, I conducted some activities such as fun with phonic points, change the letter, read the lolly word, dice game, textbook reading, story cards reading, sentence strips reading, sight words reading, flashcard reading activity, etc. with all needed precautions. As we know that activities play a vital role in students' development. It improves their learning experience. Activities should enable the students to engage their skills development, knowledge, language, and understanding in different ways. I believe that children learn better with activity-based teaching method. Thus, I designed some activities based on students' learning levels and as per the need and interest of my children. As you can see on the slide, there is a list of activity. Basically, I found 3 levels of learners in my classroom. First one, beginners, second, moderate learners, and third one, advanced learners. So as per their levels and interest and their need, I designed these activities. For beginners, I designed fun with phonic points, change the letter, flashcard reading activities. For moderate learners, I designed read the dolly word, dice game, sight word reading activities. Likewise, for the advanced learners, I designed story card reading, textbook reading, and sentence strip reading activity. In the activity-based teaching method, I explored that reinforcement and motivation helped my children to perform better. Therefore, I continued to appreciate them and ignored their meager and minor mistakes, with which the students were very happy to participate warmly. To make my children learn English language with edutainment, I have been experimenting some strategies in my classroom. I believe that changes in the activities and strategies maintain the interest in the learning. Some of these strategies which I used in my classroom are integration of technology, conducting individual activities, conducting pair activities, peer tutoring with similar learners, peer tutoring with divergent learners, etc. While experimenting all these strategies, I noted that peer tutoring with divergent learners strategy worked greatly with my children. I observed it sustained the interest of all the learners, all the levels of learners in the activity. It motivated my learners to work collaboratively with their pace and level. In peer tutoring with divergent learning strategy, I made my students to sit in 3 different groups. Group 1, as you can see on the screen, Group 1 students, here, the beginner. I supplied phonic points to the learners and gave some instructions relevant to the activity. For Group 2 learners, those are moderate learners, to this group, I supplied dice and alphabetic shapes to construct 4 to 6 letter words with some needed and proper instructions. For Group 3 readers, for Group 3 learners, those are advanced learners, here the students were supplied story cards. Children needed to read the story with comprehension and solve the exercise. While facilitating my learners, I encountered some challenges such as students' attendance both on online mode and offline mode, short span for planning and preparation. Children had limited or no access to the internet connectivity. Balancing diverse needs of learning of my children was one of the major challenges which I faced. In this tough time of pandemic, I learned to become a pragmatic facilitator. My mindset changed from classroom teaching to e-learning. I'm certainly happy that I tried to reach out my children to the best of my capacity. It's a high time for us, for the teachers, to accept the challenges, experiment more, and dive deep to bring out the best among the children. Before concluding, I want to extend my thanks to my mentor, to the eminent personality, Mr. Nazir sir, for his kind support and guidance. And also I want to thank my co-mentee, Mr. Faiz Khatib, for making this PPT. Last but not the least, my family who supported me, and special thanks to my big brother, Mushtaq Ahmad, for giving technical assistance. Thank you one and all.
Thank you for the presentation. It's a nice journey. The way in which you concluded that it's a journey. There's the learning during the pandemic, how it prompted you to graduate from one level to the other level, and how you successfully grappled with the pandemic situation. And you have nicely pointed out how important it is to balance the diverse needs of the children. No two children are the same. All learners are different, but we are the only one teachers, and that's why it is a very the most difficult profession in the world, as we all know, is that of the teachers, because we are dealing with human beings and who are so different from one another. Not just as two fingers of the hand can't be same, two human beings can't be same, two learners can't be same. Though we talk of multiple intelligence and like that, but even then, there are different groups of learners and they have distinct needs. And during the pandemic, it became very prominent. Children reacted to the pandemic in different ways. They were shocked, and till now they are shocked. And we teachers had a very important role to play. And the way you presented it is quite nice. I would now like to request others, if they have any question, they can ask you, or any suggestion.
Yeah, thank you, sir, and congratulations, Rashida ma'am. It's really nice to go through your work. Yeah, it's really needed because reading is the base for the remaining skills. So I think the student should first of all be able to read and comprehend. Unless they do that, they can't go for writing. And reading is the source of gaining information. We all know about that. So really, ma'am, it's really nice that you have selected different strategies catering the needs of the diversified learners. It's really good. And from my side, I would like to extend one more suggestion, if you don't mind. One of the techniques, of course, all of us know about that. But as we are all the teachers, so if you don't mind, I would like to say that recently I learned, actually I studied long before, but in one of the online courses these days, I learned about one of the strategy that is reciprocal teaching of reading. In the recent FDP program, I heard, I once again have come across it. And I think that actually we are doing this, but we are not following the steps in a sequential order. So when you go for the advanced learners, ma'am, I think that is really, really, really useful to us. I would like to implement, and I think you should. I think you could also find it to be useful, ma'am. Reciprocal teaching of reading. 4 strategies it involves: predicting, summarizing, questioning, and clarifying. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable suggestion, madam. I'll definitely try to do that.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I put forth a question?
Yes, sir. You are invited.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is Rohit. So as I gather, madam, you are catering to students who from Bijapur, who I believe are second language learner students, or might be English is a foreign language over there. So you mentioned that you used some teaching aids while teaching phonics to them, as in uh, aid to become literate in the third language. So I just wanted to know how did they cope up with learning two scripts at a time, because they might also be learning Kannada at the same time they are learning the Roman script. So how did they cope with it?
Dr. Rohit, sorry, Dr. Rohit, as I mentioned earlier, in the academic year 2019-20, I have done research work on my students. The potential area was reading. So there I come to know the ground reality of my learners, and the students are belonging to the very poor background. The locality is very, what we can say, they are not having the opportunities to explore their language. So I tried my level best, I try my best to create some atmosphere for learning to my students, and those activities which I mentioned with the TLMs are made by myself as per knowing the capacity of my students. I hope you got the answer.
Yeah, of course, I understand that you tried your best, but I just wanted to know how did the young learners cope up with learning two scripts at a time? So, do you have any reflection on that experience? That's all I just wanted to know.
Cope up means engaging in the activity, you mean to say? Hello?
Yeah, no, yeah. So these are very young learners. So as a first language, they might be learning Kannada or the school language of that particular area, right? And also you are teaching them English also to the early graders as a foreign language or as a second language. So how did they fare while learning two scripts at a time simultaneously?
Well,
So
I made, sorry to interrupt you. You may continue.
no. That is all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Please go on.
So to avoid this reason only, to make balance in my classroom, I design such activities which are suitable for the beginners, for the moderate learners, as well as the advanced learners. At a time, I gave them the activity as per their needs and their level. Simultaneously, I check around to the students and give the instruction if they feel any necessity. So likewise, they learn with collaborativeness with their pair friends. I hope
Okay,
I'm
okay.
clear.
Yeah. Okay. I understand that you tried all
One
out.
more.
You gave all your efforts in, you're helping your students. I congratulate you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And I have a YouTube channel by name RNI Activities. If you want to search out those activities which I conducted to my students, you can check it out. I will share it in a chat box. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, because this is a very important question also. Now, how do you teach two scripts at the same time, two or three also? Because each language has its own scripts and they are so different. Now, when we learn the Roman script and when you think of the, say, Kannada script, now it's your Kannada scripts and the half, there is a unique qualities. And that's why you can't compare one script with the others. And in a mixed classroom, it becomes challenging. But it's nice that you were innovative enough to do that. And I think we English teachers, we must do enough research in this field and to see how children cope up with these challenges. And there are variations, no doubt. So, because writing itself starts with drawing. We think of the early literacy, and new educational policy refers to early literacy. Actually, children are by birth they're writers. Writers in the mean, I mean that as soon as they get a pencil in their hand and the wall is and the white wall of the room, they start drawing. And that drawing is also a part of the what we call emergent writing. And and all of us as children, we ourselves also did the same thing. And though our parents scolded us a lot, but even when we got a chance, we used to make marks on the walls or on whatever we used to get. But that is the beginning of writing itself. And how do you condition? How do you monitor? And with reference to particular language, because there are some similarities. The kind of motor skill that we need, and how do you take a pencil? How do you move the pencil? There are cursive letters. How do you make the curves? How do you make the straight lines? And different languages you use all the languages use them in different ways. And I think enough research is required in this field, and I hope you people will notice these things and will take much more work. And in future conferences, you will present your papers based on your findings. I look forward to listening through those papers also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Partha. Thank you so much.
Now, yeah, please start, Mr. Rajamani.
Good evening, sir. I'm unable to start sharing, sir. Are you going to share?
You'll be seeing the arrows below your slides, madam. Can you see it?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
just
need
click
to
on
open
that.
my webcam, ma'am. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's okay, madam. You can start your.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. The honorable members of the RIE, the chairperson, the coordinators and moderators, and the delegates, the presenters. So I'm Rojanani Madhareddy, working as School Assistant English at GHS Narendranagar, Warangal in Telangana state. Today, I would like to share my own views and what actually we are doing. That means for the past academic year, for the past 1 year, whatever the teaching practices and strategies I have been implementing as a teacher at the school, as the resource person in the orientation and training programs extended for the SGT teachers and also the school assistants in our district, and also the resource persons in making the video lessons, uploading in the Diksha portal are for our district levels, and also the member of ELTA Warangal, English Language Teachers Association, Warangal Urban, extending the activities of ELTA, voluntary activity, participating actively in the voluntary activities, also educating the government school children voluntarily, starting from 60 members to today in 1 year, nearly 700 students are attending the classes early in the morning from 7 to 9, sir. So in all these, we have used different practices using the digital technology and going for alternative methods of teaching because we are in online mode. So I would like to share all these experiences along with my action research, being the mentor in the Hanway Exploratory Action Research Project, mentoring 7 teachers, and the Connecting Classrooms Project, Enhancing Mentoring Project. So using all, that means whatever I'm going to share here is nothing but many teachers are doing, but this is the practical experience which I'm going to share with you. And here this is actually a reflective study I have taken up, selecting 20 teachers and 100 students, which would be elaboratively presented in full-length paper, but I would like to share what I have come up in this study. So today's presentation, my topic is innovative teaching strategies and practices during the pandemic. Sorry, sir. Actually, I have shared the new slides now, sir. Couldn't you get the link, sir? Can I get the sharing option otherwise?
What happened, madam?
Yesterday, I have sent you the link, no, ma'am. And I got the confirmation that it has been uploaded.
Is it not the slide that you want me?
No, actually, I sent under PPT.
Okay, do one thing. Next to the webcam, there will be a other logo called share your screen. Can you see that? At the middle of your...
Yeah, I could see that, ma'am. I could see that.
Yeah, just click on that.
Yeah, shall I share the screen then?
Yeah. Click on that and you'll get a drop down under entire, select the entire screen option.
Entire screen option. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, click on share.
But I'm unable to enable this. Can I upload the link? Otherwise, could you please upload it?
Yeah, I can do that. Please share it in Telegram.
Can I keep this in the chat box now or Telegram?
Yeah,
sorry.
Either is fine.
Yeah, now you see that if it takes some time, then we can go for the next presenter. And in the meantime, this technical thing may be sorted out. Is possible?
Yes, that would be great, sir. I think we can go for the next. Later, you can present, madam.
Yeah, because
thank you and sorry for the trouble.
No, that's okay. We'll go for the next presenter. In the meantime, I think the technical aspects will be solved and you will present it. Okay. Now I would like to request S. Longmani to present the paper, Impact on Teaching Language.
Yeah, Logomani is here, sir. Can you audible my voice?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. A warm and pleasant evening to one and all gathered here. I am Mrs. Logomani, working as a secondary grade teacher, Dindigul district from Tamil Nadu. I am here to present my paper in the topic of teacher innovation and challenges. I have taken impact on teaching language as my topic. English is the preeminent foreign language being taught worldwide, and it's evident that most Asian countries have placed a special emphasis on English. In India, English is the first one taught in schools and plays a vital role in educational system, especially in primary curricula. This pandemic completely collapsed our educational system, particularly this situation barrier in our government school. This presentation, I discuss the challenges faced by me as an English teacher of English as a second real situation of last 1.5 years. Then I'm going to talk about impacts on language of primary school, where I teach challenges are contextual. And what are the innovative practices I have taken to engage my children in language learning during this pandemic groups? First thing I have brought up here, pandemic's impact on learning. Scanning basic needs, factions in one-on-one learning, lacking in learning wantage, inapt educational realm, least parental. Scanning is one of the major approaches absolute poverty in developing countries. Poverty line is then defined as the amount of income required to satisfy needs. So this pandemic affected my parents' survival. So my children's basic needs are not fulfilled by our poor parents. Fat chance in one-on-one learning. Face-to-face learning ensures the students interact the teacher individually so that each can learn and understand the concept at their own pace and in their own way. But without the regular school, there is no chance for face-to-face learning. Lacking in learning wantage. Teachers in my context face numerous challenges in and out of the classroom. Core among them, there is a limited opportunity for the learners to practice language. Learners are not given ample opportunity for learning in the home to compare regular school. The next one is inapt educational realm, that's inadequate learning environment. Many research has shown that an engaged learning environment increases students' attention, promotes meaningful learning experiences, encourages higher levels of children's performance, and motivates students to practice higher level critical thinking. But now the situation is too bad. There is no apt educational realm for students. Then how the children will show the attention in education? The last one, least parental care. As I'm working in remote area, usually my parents they won't show any care in their studies, not only in studies as well as their hygiene, food and health also. Understanding this, teacher is a second parent in my school. Each and every teacher takes individual care of the children along with teaching process. Nowadays, we couldn't meet our children regularly. My children are not getting proper care from the teachers as well as the parents. Now I'm coming to the point, pandemic's impact on language teaching. In that, I have categorized a few things: detachment in learning, second language barrier, deficit in literate parent, remote area, more influence of mother tongue. So detachment in learning, we know that very well. Interest is a powerful motivational process that energizes learning. Most of my students nowadays, the whole day they are in the home only. They could know about their family poverty and situation. So they find a job to earn money for their everyday expenses. So it automatically they are getting detachment in learning. Next I am coming to that second language barrier. Second language learning is the biggest hindrance to our school children because students are not getting proper language acquisition atmosphere. Learners' culture is one of the main reasons for this. Cultural difference make us confusion and misunderstanding among my children. The one more very important thing, the learner's negative attitude towards English poses a great barrier for effective teaching. Then deficit in literate parents. Sometimes the illiterate parents of my parents, they create negative among their children because they lag behind the positive things and the characters. Even in the regular school time also, maximum of our parents, they never try to understand the importance of education. This is a big challenge for the teachers to create awareness of the quality of life and the advantages of having an education. Then last thing in this remote area and more mother tongue influence. The children, those who are studying in remote area schools, only little attention is paid to the challenges faced in rural schools. Language learning involves the imitation by the learners of the sounds and patterns used by the other human beings around him. In the learning of a second language, however, the habits already acquired in connection with one's first language come in one's way. So mother tongue influence is a big blackhead in language teaching. So I got totally confused. I asked my many questions in that: how to overcome these pandemics? How could you manage your children in the language learning? I asked continuously these two questions myself. So I find the answer. I no other go. I have planned to online learning, online teaching. In that online teaching also, I faced some challenges. The first thing, shortage of technical support, inadequate knowledge of using technology, death of smartphones, economic resource of parents. So just as the pandemic has added more importance of technology, as my school society belongs to remote area, network problem is also a big barrier for us. Only few of my parents, they have smartphones with complete network, but without the knowledge of how to use the smartphone in a smart way. Then another few parents, they have smartphone, but without any network, without proper network. Then 50% of my parents, they have no smartphones. Even a normal phone, they don't have. As they're working in a daily wages, they couldn't buy new smartphone for their children. So again, I got some confusions in this language teaching practice. So in this situation only, I attended the course offered by RIESI, 1 month language course about how to develop language teaching in an innovative way. So in this training, Mr. Ravinarayan Chakrakodi sir helped me a lot to how to implement technology in your classroom. So I got crystal clear to how to improve innovative methods in language teaching. So I plan to give some innovative and integrative practices for transforming learning by using innovative methodologies, translating skills, vocabulary enrichment, learning environment, different teaching strategies, and various learning styles. So for this, first I categorized my students based on the availability of smartphones. So in the availability of smartphones, I categorized three types of students. The first one is online accessible. That is 25% of my children have smartphones with complete network. And the next one is offline accessible. 25% of my children, they have smartphone without proper network. Then again 50% of my children, they don't have smartphones. So in this category, I categorized my children. According to this, I planned. So first, online accessible. In online accessibility, I started to give online teaching for my children. I send the content through WhatsApp. In the WhatsApp also, I send the content through video, audio, and PPT also. In PDF form also, I have the content. Then I give explanation also. Then one more very important thing, I asked all my students to download Backup app. It's a very wonderful app. They can learn more synonyms, antonyms, examples with wonderful pictures. Apart from these things, in that app, daily editorial quiz, grammar, A to Z vocabularies, comprehension, idioms and phrases, phrasal verbs, root words, semi-words, linked words, vocabulary dictionary, how to build the words, then wonderful stories also. In one more important thing in this vocab app, they can practice it by themselves. They can repeatedly, they can give voice. If there's a correction, they'll inform. They can practice. So it's a wonderful app to learn for my children. I utilized this. Then after teaching, I give some practices for that. So giving practice, I used live worksheets using Google platforms, then Google Quiz, and Google like some games also. So then and there I can correct it, their quiz, all the practices. If they need extra practices, there is the option for that also. 3 times, 2 times I can give times. They'll practice this till they clear in that concept. Then for analyzing this, I used Tesmos.com and Google Forms. I can use Google Forms as a quiz also. By using this, I analyze my children's outcomes. So these are the steps I have taken for online accessible students. Then now I'm coming to offline accessible students. Here also, I got 25% of my children. I send the content through WhatsApp in PPT and PDF form also to the students. After sending the content, I give voice message. Then I make a normal call to clarify about the content. For practicing these children, I give the same worksheets which I gave for online students, but not in the online form, in the printed form. So weekly once or twice, I used to go to school regularly. So in that time, I'll give printed worksheets to them. After 1 week, I'll collect the worksheet and correct it, and I give it to them back. If I need, I have the practice, I have extra worksheets. Again, I give the same worksheets to them to practice till the content clear. Then for the analysis also, I used Tesmos.com for my children. The same worksheet I have given in the online, I brought it and took printout for these children also. This is, I can do only weekly analysis for these children. Here also, I suggested to download backup for these children. If they get correct network, they can use it. Then now I'm coming to the point. No accessible of smartphones, 50% of my children. Here I could take some more extra steps because maximum of students based in this category only. So first thing, I getting support from local volunteers, peer group support, and collaborative learning. Encourage to learn from naturalistic, picturesque worksheet, kinesthetic activities, usage of emoji cards, and suggested to play ESL gaming. So first things, getting support from local volunteers. First, I confirm whether the volunteers are not interested or not. I'll get help from the local volunteers, those who are available with smartphones and interest. I guide them to I guide them to give some works in the evening time for my children. If whenever they find free time, because they are all interested students, I ask them to guide my children. Then I encourage peer group learning and collaborative learning. But collaborative learning requires a structural and open environment where individuals actively exchange and elaborate their ideas. But it's not possible in this pandemic situation. So I found that peer group learning is a what is strategies, and it creates greater confidence among my children. So I suggested my peer group children learning those who are living nearby. Then I'm coming to that. Encouraged to learn from naturalistic. Nature provides countless opportunities for the children to learn, like family culture, festivals, household activities, ethics, moral values, stories. In maximum, we can learn from the nature. So, interacting with the environment helps them to think, question, and make hypotheses, thereby developing inquisitive minds. The next thing I'm coming to the kinesthetic activities. Kinesthetic activities are important for all learners. The more sense we involve, the more learning.
Sorry to interrupt. I think you have taken more than 10 minutes. Just try to wind up in another 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm coming to that conclusion. So kinesthetic
Yes.
is a very useful activities for them. In this, the learning by experience, making use of movement. So I used it to emoji cards. It's a joyful learning for my children. Then I suggested to all my children for Tamil Nadu Kalvi Tolekachi channel. So in this thing, these are the steps I have taken to engage my children in language learning. I thought to apply more technology, but considering the poor technology, poor economy, I couldn't do that. I'm not get 100% successful in this like regular school, but I could continue the learning process without any distraction. So I could encourage my children, I could engage in language learning. I have the confidence to bring change among the children in language learning. So change is the end result of all true learnings. So with this, I wind up my session. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thanks you for all.
Oh, thank you for the presentation. Yes, change is the end result of all the true learning. And your innovative approach, getting support from the local volunteers and encouraged to learn from naturalistic situation, peer group support, all these things are quite good. Now, the next paper is also innovative teaching techniques. So I think that let's listen to the next presenter also, Rajamani, and then we can have then we may have a discussion on both the papers together, because I think thematically they are very much aligned. We can go for the next presentation.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good afternoon once again, and sorry for the inconvenience earlier. So today, I'm Rojarani Madhareddy, School Assistant English, working at GHS Narendranagar, Warangal in Telangana State. I have come up with innovative teaching strategies and practices during the pandemic, which I have been adopting for the past 1 year as a teacher, as a resource person, and also the ELTA member, English Language Teachers Association member, extending my services in training the teachers as well as teaching the students and voluntary services. Thank you, sir. And this is what I want to share. That is what kind of alternative methods a teacher could take up during this pandemic. So NCF 2005 emphasizes the learning-centered education for comprehensive development of the learners. I mean to say that here, earlier it was teacher-centered education. The education paradigm has been shifted from teacher-centered to learner-centered, and then it has come up to learning-centered. So today, the teacher's responsibility is what we teach is not important, how much the students have learned it. That means our goal is to make the children learn something in the classroom. So when the educational paradigm has been shifted to learning-centered education, now I would like to take a quote by Julia Gillard that our future growth relies on competitiveness and innovative skills and productivity, and these in turn rely on the education of our people. So according to her quote, now it has become evident and obligatory or definite that the teachers ought to adopt innovative practices to incite and develop the 21st century skills like creativity, critical thinking skills, analytical skills, and problem solving skills among the learners. That means all round development of the children should also include these. So with this, so not only this, and during the worst hit pandemic for the last 2 years, that is more than 1.5 years, specifically instigated a great challenge for the teaching learning process, mobilizing all our teachers to become innovative and search for alternative measures going beyond the conventional mode. So this study, that is the innovative teaching techniques and practices during the pandemic, aims at addressing the usage of varied teaching technique, innovative practices, and digital technology to facilitate learning both synchronously and asynchronously for the past 1.5 years. So objectives of this study, which I have taken up, are to know the alternative methods, strategies, and practices adopted by the teachers for this period, and also to analyze the usage of digital technology. That means the tools that are being used by the teachers to optimize learning, and also to evaluate the success of innovative methodology and digital technology that has been utilized by the teachers through the reflections of the teachers and the students collected through the Google Forms. And now with this, I would like to we are saying that innovative techniques, but actually what is innovation? So innovation includes different things. The first thing is adoption of myriad methods and approaches like crossover teaching, blended teaching learning, flipped learning, teaching through flipped classrooms, teaching through collaboration, that is communicative approach of language learning, project-based teaching, nothing but the teaching, task-based learning and teaching, and teaching through virtual reality, teaching through technology, that is different applications, usage of different digital applications by the teachers in order to make learning easy for the students. In the same way, teaching through smart boards, which have become quite evident these days for the competitive examinations and higher education, and also the gamification mode are game-based learning being adopted by the teachers for providing meaningful, joyful learning, and also making learning a fun for the students. So this is the first step, and innovation also includes creation of interesting, engaging activities, because after all, we need to engage the students in different activities and make them to learn unconsciously. And then the next thing is professional updation related to both content and digital technology. I mean to say that unless a teacher is a continuous learner, unless we make up ourselves with the new techniques and learn from others, we can't implement them. Otherwise, it becomes more traditional, conventional. So we need to go for professional updation, not only for the teacher. These days in the online teaching, now we need to make our students to be updated with the usage of the digital technology. So, and coming to so I think these are the innovation. That means when we say that the teacher needs to be innovative, we need to know about different alternative methods. I don't mean that we need to use all of them, but we can use any one of them according to the possibility based upon the needs of the learners and also the content. So coming to the crossover teaching, let me give a brief review of this. Crossover teaching, my dear friends, we all know about them. I take this liberty to call the friends, sorry if you don't mind. So crossover teaching, I mean to say that here in the presentation of the content, sometimes we need to provide different learning experiences, making the students to be going beyond the school. That means, for example, taking them to the museums. Earlier, this never includes the technology, just making them to go to the field experience on the field. That means field trips, museums, planetariums, art, like that we used to go earlier. So the teaching which makes the children to be out of the classrooms and experience in the realistic situations can be the crossover teaching. But this pandemic is not allowing us to go for that. So now the next comes blended teaching learning. Most of the teachers, we are well versed with this blended teaching learning, which is nothing but an integrated teaching learning, which is integrating both online and offline modes. That is the conventional teaching learning practices along with the online mode of teaching can be the blended. So here we will be using digital technology and also following the conventional modes of technology, different methods and approaches, making the students to understand. And this has become the most obvious method for almost all the teachers, I mean to say, and most of the teachers, we are using that and we are making our students to learn during this pandemic. In the same way, flipped learning. That is nothing but it's a part of the blended learning, which we can call flipped classrooms. This is nothing but flipping the homework to the classwork and classwork to the homework sessions. I mean to say, what we ask the students after the completion of the classroom teaching learning will be provided before. That means before coming to the classrooms, we provide the resources. For example, these days we are using the Google Classrooms. So we will be providing different resources in the Google Classrooms, audios, videos, text materials, and we would be asking them to go through them before they come to the classroom. Whether it is, of course, these days this is online mode, but we are making the online mode also to be synchronous through the learning platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, etc. So when we come to the synchronous mode, before coming to the class, they will be going through them and coming to the classroom. Here in the synchronous mode, what we are doing is through the breakout room sessions, we would are through different activities, taking the quizzes app, otherwise a Kahoot app, different applications we are using, and in the breakout sessions, giving different situations and providing different information gap activities, we are making the children to use what they learned before coming to the classroom. Here we also go for collaboration, that is making the students into the groups, making them to discuss together and coming up with the presentation or answering the tasks that were given by the teacher in the synchronous mode. And then teaching through collaboration. I mean, here pair work, group work, simulations, everything can be taken up. But the thing is, before coming in the class, we'll be providing the resources, and after coming to the class, now we are making them to practice what they learned earlier. This is flipped classroom technique, which is usually used by the teachers during this pandemic. Then comes teaching through collaboration. Nothing but here these days we stress for communication, collaboration, and boosting up the confidence among the children. These are primary for optimizing the learning among the students. That is the reason teaching through collaboration is nothing but, we all know, even in Telangana and most of the states in India, we have got the CCE curriculum, that is continuous comprehensive evaluation, which stresses for the peer work, group work, collaborative activities, and holistic approach of teaching. That is the reason here teaching through collaboration, we divide the students into groups where the teacher will be taking the role of a mentor, a supervisor, a guide, and a provider of different resources. That means a teacher should be resourceful, making them to involving them in different activities, making them to giving a scope for them to discuss with each other and come up with the information. That is nothing but, we can also take like a think, pair, and share activities, and also fluency circle activities. That means here, my dear friends, I'm sharing the different activities which we can take up as a part of any method, because based upon approach, we go for the methods. Based upon the method, we go for different strategies and activities. We design different activities to make the children well versed with the topic or the content and also learn in the classroom. So communicative acquisition, that means language learning, we basically stress upon this through collaboration. And one more activity I would like to suggest here is Jigsaw. Of course, all of us know about them. Jigsaw is nothing but, first of all, dividing the students into different groups, and then each group member will be, that means each of the student will be assigned a topic. For example, suppose we are teaching about the environment lesson. There are different types of environmental pollutions like air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, like that. So the 5 types of pollutions are to be discussed. So the class will be divided into 5 groups, and each member of the group will be assigned different topics. That means one will be water pollution, one will be with soil pollution, one will be with air pollution, and then we will be providing the resources or giving the sources. They would go through them, they would learn whatever that is given to them. Then once again, every member from each group who is allotted the same topic, for example, all air pollutions will be grouped together first. They will come up, they will discuss with each other, and then here what happens, the knowledge becomes cumulative, because all of them learned about air pollution. Now they are discussing with each other. So what happens, the knowledge becomes cumulative. Now once again, they return to their own groups, and they would be sharing what they learned to the other group members. This happens, so this is called a Jigsaw, wherein by the collaboration, the acquisition increases. Then project-based teaching. I know, my dear teachers, we all know that we are giving the projects, task-based learning. Here, even we can go for think, pair, and share activities, and different activities can be used, wherein we give the project, we divide the students into different groups, we motivate them, we encourage them, and we inspire them and stimulate them to take up different roles to complete the project. And we also provide the sources, will be simply a guide, a supervisor, and a mentor. They would be doing up the project, and they would be sharing the information together and coming up with the presentations, wherein the presentations will be before the class, and everybody will be participating in the discussion as we are doing here, and knowledge becomes cumulative, and they would be evaluating their project. In the same way, teaching through virtual reality, this is nothing but 3D sources, but this is mostly seen in the higher education. But if it is possible, we can also use them in the classroom. These days, in some of the schools, we are going for prototypes, designing, etc. And even ELTA Warangal Urban has taken up this type of virtual reality classes for some of the students voluntarily. So it is really useful, and hope this would be used in our schools also. And we as a teachers should take the responsibility, primary responsibility, to introduce this also into our classroom, and in future we expect the same. And teaching through technology, that is nothing but using different applications like Flipgrid, Nearpod, and Padlet, and Wakelet, for example, and Woki. These are also being used by quizzes, Kahoot, Google Forms, Google Docs, videos, PPT, slides. Everything is being used by us, and we are making our students also to use them, including the WhatsApp, so that the children, that means using the different digital tools or applications, and through technology, we are making the children to learn more, visualize more, and developing their imagination and creativity. So, and teaching through smart boards. We all know these days online teaching for different competitive examinations is being taken up through smart boards. But these smart boards might be costly. The teachers might not be using them. We teachers might not be using. But tomorrow, this is also possible. And gamification, actually, they would be providing the visual. That means, for example, the difficult concepts can be explained by visualization by using the smart boards. In the same way, gamification here, I mean to say, either the usage of different apps, or we can go for game mode learning, like, for example, adjectives, parts of the speech. When we go for, particularly in English, when we go for making the students to learn about different parts of speech, like adjectives, verbs, adverbs, etc., or the sentence structures, we can definitely go for game-based learning. And this is mostly useful for almost all types of learners. Specifically, we can make the children like low proficient learner to learn more through this game-based learning, and it makes learning meaningful, joyful, and creates a lot of fun in the classroom. And in the same way, so these are the different innovative practices which a teacher can use, and based upon our feasibility, we would select. So coming to my topic now, need and So need and importance of this topic. Actually, what is the importance of this study? So innovation, the teaching learning process strives for the comprehensive development.
Please conclude. Please try to conclude.
Yeah, just 2 minutes. Meaningful and joyful learning, providing experiential learning to the children, as just we were discussing. Active participation of the students will be involved here. Collaborative learning takes place, developing the cooperation, communication skills among the children, and boosting up the confidence among the learners to do anything on their own. Independent and individualized instruction will be given, and it would also cater the varied learning styles of the learners. We know that the learners will be of different styles. That means they can learn in different ways. Visual learners will be there, auditory learners will be there, reading and writing types of there, and kinesthetic learners will be there. So we need to design different activities so that we can satisfy all the learners, and this is possible by using the digital tools through the blended learning or flipped classrooms or other methods. In the same way, the multiple intelligence levels of the learners, that is according to Howard Gardner, we know the learners will be of different intelligence, so we need to cater all the different intelligence levels of the students. In the same way, the game-based learning, and all this is nothing but the main aim is development of 21st century skills among the students. We need to make them the problem solvers and think critically. Then for this study, let me share how I have collected the data actually. The method I have adopted is the survey method, and the sample I have taken is 20 teachers, and I have studied upon the 100 students, and I have collected the data through quantitative and qualitative methods, usually using the linear scale and the subjective type of Google form. And questionnaires with subjective questions and linear scales has been used, and test items are related to teacher reflections, related to the methodology and the techniques they have adopted, and digital because it is related to alternative methods, and digital technology they have used also been given here. And I have collected the student reflections to know how well they are satisfied with these alternative methods of teaching during this pandemic. And coming to the analysis of data and findings, I have found that alternative strategies adopted by the teachers include blended learning practice. They are going to flipped classrooms, and also they are providing project-based learning and collaborative learning techniques. And coming to the utilization of digital technology, one of the objectives of my study, almost all the teachers have utilized digital technology like learning platforms, Zoom and Google Meet. Most of them are using them. And coming to the learning management systems, they are using Google Classroom and Padlet. Even I have also used. And applications like ThingLink, Slides, PPTs, video lessons, YouTube videos, and docs for presentations. Even I have prepared the video lessons for the SCRT and also our district, and I'm using them. And quizzes, Quizlet, Nearpod, and WordWall are being used for gamification, which the students are really enjoying, and it is developing the competitive spirit among the students. And I use the Google Forms, Google Docs, Word, Woki, Flipgrid, and Kahoot for assessment, because Flipgrid I feel it very useful for oral assessment. And coming to the continuation of analysis, reflections of teachers, what I got from the teachers is they are highly satisfied with the new methods, though it is very risky for them. But now they are very happy with that, because during the learning they have to devote a lot of time, but now they are very happy, and they recommended the continuation of flipped classrooms.
Sorry to interrupt you. Time is up. Please
only
stop.
1 minute.
Please stop.
Last slide, sir. Only 1 minute.
Please stop.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Because we have another program, and because we have a program at 5, and that's why if there is any question, only one, I can allow only one question if anybody has any question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, if there is no question, then we come to the end of this session. Thank you all very much for all the presentations. I wish we could have discussions on the last 2 papers. But time won't allow. We have another program at 5. We need to be prepared for that. Thank you all. The session comes to an end.
Thank you.